Hey friends, what's up? How's it going? Welcome to the show. Today I'm going to do a video about my RS back there, and is it the best overall bike for your money? Let's take a look. This is my 2020 R1250 RS. I bought this brand new and have had it for 5 years plus. So this is, yes, my bike, and I'm not test riding it. But you know, is this the best overall bike? And of course, buying a motorcycle has a lot of factors involved in terms of, you know, what kind of riding you're going to be doing, what skill level you have, the looks of the bike, personality, all kinds of stuff like that. So what I'm going to talk about today is the fact that this bike, in my opinion, kind of checks a lot of boxes for doing a lot of different type of riding. I'll just go over my bike a little bit and the things I've done to it before we get into the meat and potatoes of this. So starting in the front, I've got this Puig screen here. This is the Puig racing screen. So it's basically the same size as the one that comes with the bike, but it's smoke black, and I just thought it looked better. So I got that for aesthetics. This is here only because I do the auto. I want audio to be decent when I moto vlog, when I'm riding around. Without this, the wind and head buffeting is pretty significant, and the audio ends up sounding like crap. So that's the only reason that's like, I bought that for 30 bucks on Amazon. Moving back here a little bit. So just right here, we've got the engine guards. These are X-Head 1250 machine moto. And these look like, if you didn't know any better, it looks like they came with the bike. So I didn't want the bars and the cage crash bars on it, because then it would make the bike look more like an adventure bike or something. So these are very inconspicuous, and they just look like they're part of the bike. So I like those a lot. Over here up front, I've got the red rim tape. I put that on because I wanted to tie in some red accent to the RS here. Moving up. See, of course, I've got my Insta360 here. This is my Chiji AIO5. Down below in the description, you can see I have a link for this for 10% off if you want to buy one. Go to their website and check it out. I love this thing. I have a lot of videos about this. I have actually a playlist about I moved from quad lock to this and why I did it, how I did it, all that stuff. So go check that out if you're interested in that. Let's see what else I did. Tank bag. So this is the ring. I don't have the tank bag with me right now, but it's an SW Motec, which paired with this SW Motec panniers. I bought these just to, so I can carry camera equipment, and if I go on short trips, I can, put stuff in there and I don't have to rely on my friends to carry it for me. And this is the pod. So this does not come with the bike, but you can fit all kinds of fun stuff in there. Got my tire pump, a lock, some tools, water, helmet bag, tire repair kit, all that stuff is in there. And I bought that, again, for aesthetics mostly. I just think it looks kind of cool. Also forgot to mention when I was showing you this that the seat is a Sargent Cycle seat, and that I bought it with the pod. That Sargent Cycle seat is amazing. It's very comfortable. The stock one it was not comfortable for me, and it's a little bit lower, this one, than stock, so my feet are closer to the ground, more like a flat foot. And I don't ride two up, so that's that. A Krapovich full system. So I've got the black titanium slip-on. Moving forward, got the headers. So I've got the cat delete, so there's no cat. And you'll see these are titanium as well. I've got the bluing going on. I got these on special. I got a really good deal on these. It cost me the same amount of money for these as it did for stainless steel when I got them. So usually there's like a $300 to $500 difference typically, stainless steel to titanium. But that's that. Got these little bar ends here. So this is, again, is a little bit of red accent to tie in with the red RS. And I think that is it. I don't think I have... Oh, and I have a tune from BT Moto, Bren tune. That's in the description below as well if you want to get a tune for your bike. They're generally about $800 to $900. BMW, all kinds of bikes they do the tuning for. So I have a Bren tune. The link in the description will give you 5% off if you use my coupon code. And I also have a a code for Insta360 in there as well in the description below. But that's it. That's all the things I've put on the bike since I've owned it. So today I'm going to do a little riding and take you with me and just go over the bike and what it can and can't do. So when you buy a bike, obviously for the big one is, what are you going to be doing with it? Are you going to be doing is it going to be an everyday bike, commuter? You're going to be in an urban environment? Are you going to be doing, just weekend rides with your buddies within a 2-hour radius of your house? Are you going to be hitting, tight twisties? Do you want to be on, the back roads, flicking the bike around, having fun like a little racetrack? So there's all these different variables of what you're going to do. And again, this is why I'm doing this video, is just to show overall the RS, I think, in my opinion, is an awesome bike because it ticks a lot of those boxes. The way I ride it 3 to 4 times a week. Sometimes I go downtown, sometimes I go on the backcountry roads with the big sweepers, big long curves, and then sometimes I go in tight twisties. This is a 534-pound bike, so it's not light. It's not a sport bike per se that are usually below 500 pounds in the 400-pound range, so it's a little heavier. But it's still very flickable. I can flick this bike around quite a bit, quite easily. The boxer engine is down low, so you got a low center of gravity, and that really helps with the weight. But yeah, I want to get riding because it's a beautiful day out, and I'm going to take the bike into some different scenarios and just talk about where I am and kind of what the bike is doing and why again the bike fits that mission. All right, so I'm on the bike here. For those that are in the Austin area, everyone's going to know where I am right now. This is a very famous motorcycle road called Lime Creek Road. So I'm on the corner here. I don't normally ride this. This is not my style of riding, just because there's a lot of variables that pop up on this road. Other vehicles coming over the yellow line at you, sand, gravel, etc. But the road itself is very twisty. It's probably one of the twistiest roads around here. And for that reason, a lot of motorcycles come here, especially sport bike riders, and also sports cars like to go on this road. So I'm going to go on a little bit of it. I understand it's shut down part of it today for construction or something, so I'll go on as much as I can just to show you, what a twisty road looks like on this bike. Of course, I'm not going to go crazy here and super fast. That's not my thing, but I'll take you out there anyways. Let's go. All right, we're off. Oh, it's quite sunny. And just before this, I had a really nice discussion with a guy. He just got off riding this. He was on a KTM 990, I believe. But yeah, we had a really fun discussion about motorcycles in general. Okay, so here's a sign. I think it's telling us there's some construction or something. I think from start to finish this road is about 25 minutes of riding. So this bike handles really well in the twisties. Again, it's the center of gravity is quite low. Obviously I'm not on a twisty part of the road right now, but just pressing down the handlebars, no problem. I've test rode a lot of bikes, and I think this one handles really well in the twisties for what it is and how heavy it is. Been on some other bikes where you kind of got to fight and push hard to get the thing to really turn in on, turn in for you. What a view! It's got a great view here. Now, of course, when you're riding on twisty roads, and if you are going really fast, unlike me, you do want good brakes, and that's the nice thing about this bike. It has Brembo brakes. They're really grabby, very powerful to bring this bike to a stop when you need to, or bite it in when you're doing some trail braking and making the bike, slow down and bite the front. There goes a Harley on the twisty road. He's having fun. Looks like a Sportster. very sharp curve. This bike can do a lot more than I can give it, so keep that in mind too. My desire to go super fast on this road is not there, but this bike can handle it if you're skilled. Look at this switchback thing here. Gosh, this is a crazy curve. That's really nice back here though. If you ever come to this area, make sure you check out this road, but just try to do it like right now. It's in the afternoon. UPS truck. On the weekends, this place has got too many people. So you come here like weekday, well, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock, something like that. There's not as many people back here. But that's it for the twisty roads. I'm gonna head off to another area, have some fun on the bike. I'll catch up with you when I get there. So the other thing that's cool about this in the twisties, in a situation like this has the shift cam technology. So stand on the side of the road, man. The shift cam technology will shift. Whoa, thing in the road. So let's say you're in 4th gear, you come around a corner, and then there's a hill, and you've slowed down enough where you'd normally, downshift into 3rd to get your revs back up. This bike, you don't really have to do that. You can just gun it, and the shift cam technology will shift the cam over in like milliseconds. You don't even feel it, and it gives you that power, like right there, to pull. Because this bike's got tons of torque, so it'll pull you through the turn, up the hill, whatever you need to do. Much better than any other bike, in my opinion. That shift cam technology on this boxer engine is really, really cool. And so we're still in kind of twisty road category, but not as twisty. This is a gentler road, if you will. But this bike was built for this. So you're kind of, the main theme of this bike, it is a sport touring bike. So it's for those people that like sport bikes but want to tour but also want to be sporty. So that's where it kind of, it's in some degree it's a jack of all trades, master of none, if you will. So it's if it's the only bike, in like my case, this is my only motorcycle. I wish I could have more, but because it's my only bike, I wanted something that was sporty, put me in kind of a sporty position, but not too much. Had power. So this is a 1250 cc engine, so it's got power. It's got lots of torque, and that's, for everyday riding around on roads, torque is really, I think, the essential part of a motorcycle. It's the part that, gives you that pull, gives you that sense of like G-force, and pushes you back. And this bike has it. It's got 100. I've got a tune, and I've got the full Kropovich system, but this bike has 136 horsepower and 105 foot-pounds of torque with the tune and all that. I'm not really sure where it is, but it's definitely higher than that. So let's just say 110 foot-pounds of torque or something. So it's got a lot of torque, and it's not a heavy bike. So Harleys are known to be very torquey, but they're also 800-900 pounds. Road glides and street glides, stuff like that. So this is a 534 pound bike, so we're talking 300 to 400 pounds less. So the power to weight ratio is definitely in my favor. So this is again, this is where it's kind of fitting or checking off those boxes for me. It's sporty looking, it's sporty feeling, and it also has wind protection. Not the greatest, I'll get into that later, but yeah, so that's the twisty section of this video, I guess, if you will. of being able to take this bike into the twisties and having fun with it, and not thinking it's too big and heavy and cumbersome. I don't have any problem dipping this in the corners really at all. Okay, here we are on just a normal 2-lane road, you know, with a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. This eats it up, no problem. So in these situations, the speed limit's 55, but people are going, like right now we're going almost 70, and I'm just going along with traffic. So that's one thing you want about your bike, is you want to make sure that it's powerful enough that it can ride with traffic, no problem. You're not like straining the bike to keep up pace with the traffic. So if you've got a bike that's a lower cc that strains or is kind of maxing out or vibrating at 70 miles an hour, then you probably aren't going to want to be taking that bike on the highway or roads like this that are quite fast. Again, this bike is big enough, heavy enough, it can handle these type of roads no problem. So this is suburban kind of main thoroughfare roads, double lane here, very common in Texas. So if you're going to go on roads like this, higher speed roads, highways, and these kind of suburban double lane roads, weight, the bike's weight, the bike's power, the bike's wheelbase, bike's tire width, these are all going to be things that help stabilize the bike and feel more comfortable at higher speeds. This is quite a steep climb. And having that torque available pulls this bike up no problem. And again, if you're on a bike that's lower power and you're going on a road that's this fast and you're trying to get up a hill and you've got a small engine, you're going to get cars piling up behind you, and it could be a little nerve-wracking not being able to climb and get out of the way or be in a safe position. It's a fairly quiet bike. I mean, it sounds like a sewing machine, I guess. With my exhaust on it, it does get louder when you get on it, but when you're not, because I still have the servo valve in there, the flapper. I don't know if you can see, this is a real tight turn. At lower RPMs, starting the bike, this is not obnoxious, it's not loud. So it's neighborhood friendly, if you will. So right now I'm heading on these kind of back roads to downtown. So that's where we'll be doing some of our urban riding. Okay, so we're on the outskirts, or the beginning areas, I guess, the edge of downtown. We are technically in downtown, but not in the high-rise area, but we'll be there shortly. So just some of the things about this bike. When you're talking about urban riding, maneuverability is key, and one of the areas this bike is not wonderful in is because of its weight again, and this would be true for any big bike. When you're at really slow speeds, downtown area, you're going to be stop and go traffic, you're going to have to keep putting your feet down. The bike is not as heavy, as I mentioned before, as a Harley. It's 534 pounds, but it's not light, like 300 to 400 pounds, like a small little urban bike or some type of little 400cc bike. But urban areas, of course, have lots of lights, and one of the things to consider where this bike really shines is that, oh, get around that guy, is that this is a boxer engine, so it's a twin, opposing twin, and the cylinder heads are sticking out in the wind. So as you ride, the heat from those cylinders is getting dissipated quite a bit. So when you get to one of these red lights, that you run into downtown areas constantly. You don't really feel a lot of heat coming up from the engine, which is amazing, especially here in Texas when it's 105 degrees. In the summertime, and you tried to plan your trip, so you did everything early morning, and you're heading home before the big temps, tip in. But sometimes that's not the case. So here's case in point. Here's a red light here, and you can see downtown in the background there. So we're going to come to this red light, and now on an inline 4 or a V-twin like Harley, once you stop, you put your feet down, that heat is just going to waft up from that engine right into your chest and face and helmet. And the longer you sit there, if there's traffic and you're just sitting here, you're just cooking yourself. A lot of inline 4s like a Ducati, the insides of your thighs will be roasting away. And I can sit here in luxury in terms of temperature. I don't have any feeling of heat on my legs or anything like that. I guess if you're riding the bike in the winter and it's really cold out, that might be a plus, but for the most part it's not. It's really nice to have a bike that's not running at really high temperatures. Really ingenious engineering of the Boxer. Dissipate that heat. That's a huge one. The other thing that's good about this bike, because you're going to be doing a lot of stopping in downtown areas, red lights, parking, etc., traffic, is the bike's seat height is not really that tall. I'm 5'8" with an inseam of 30 inches approximately, so I'm a shorter rider. The stock version of this, I could put my toes and balls of my feet down solid on both sides, not a problem. So that was enough to, have a solid footing on the ground. If you're going to be stopping a lot and you're on a bike that's really tall for you and you're a shorter rider, you gotta, slip one cheek off the side of the seat to make sure they have at least one foot is acting as your kickstand per se and holding you up, and that can get very tiring if you're in a situation where you're stop and go, red light constantly. So what I did, and I didn't do it on purpose, but I bought this really nice Sargent seat for this bike, which I did that because the stock seat was digging into my butt, and my butt would end up going numb after about an hour and a half in that saddle. So the Sargent seat fixed that. I mean, that's amazing. I can ride this bike for 2.5 hours straight, no problem, 3 hours if I really had to, and my butt's going to be fine. It's my back that would give out eventually. But let me see, here's another red light. So this seat I got from Sargent actually lowered me down about 1.5 inches. So now I can put, like right now I'm on a little bit of a slant here, but I've got my left foot flat on the ground completely, and my right foot is on the brake and the peg. So I'm holding the bike up with my left leg. So I feel very confident with this bike downtown, going from light to light and have to put my leg down, hold the bike up, take off, go. I don't feel any problem with that at all. And again, it is quite a maneuverable bike. It is a little heavy though, so you have to consider that. It really depends on how strong you are and how tall you are and all that. But we're now in the thick of downtown, and right now we're having all green lights, which is amazing. Let me shut this. But there's a lot of things to pay attention to when you're downtown environment on a motorcycle, and if you have a motorcycle that requires a lot of attention from you, meaning that it's too heavy for you, or it's cumbersome, it's hard to maneuver, that's just going to add to your potential problems riding around in an urban area like this. Okay, here we go, red light. Again, foot down, flat, no problems. So I would, that's one of the things I would really consider about urban riding is can you get both feet down? Can you maneuver the bike? Can you handle it? Is it too heavy? Is it run too hot? all those things. So this bike again ticks another box for me. Could be a little lighter. I mean, if it was lighter, it would definitely be nicer in an urban environment, but by no means is it problematic for me. I find this bike to be very solid in this urban environment. The handlebars are, you know, kind of this pseudo clip-on, so they're kind of tight and low, but not as high and upright as a GS or an adventure bike, and not as low as a full-on sport bike in between. So again, that's where this bike kind of teeters in between two completely different riding styles, and that's a good thing, but maybe a bad thing if you can afford more than one bike. So I mean, on my wish list, if I could have enough room in my garage and I could have two bikes, I would probably have an RT. Oh, wait a minute, what's this? We've got Austin police are riding quads now. Look at that. I didn't know that. Maybe something like an RT that's a full-on touring bike for those, you know, eating up highway miles, going on those long country road rides, and being very comfortable. And then the second bike would be maybe a full-on sport bike, like a S1000 R or something like that, so you can get that. Two completely different riding styles, which this bike does a little bit of both. So if you can only have that one motorcycle, you definitely want to get something that can handle quite a bit for you. Alright, so this is downtown urban riding, my friends, no problem, and there's not a lot of traffic right now. I think a lot of people, it's Thanksgiving week, so I think a lot of people already took vacation time. Maybe that's why there's not a lot of people here. But now what I'm doing is I'm going to head over to the highway, and we'll see about some highway riding with this bike. So going on the highway, one of the things that I'm looking at here is the touring part of it, because if you're going to go on any real long tour, you're going to be munching some miles on the highway most likely. Get that open. And in my opinion, where this bike is, it lacks is the fact that it's not super comfortable. So if you're having a full-on tour bike, you want it to be very comfortable, meaning you want your leg probably at a 90-degree angle. You want it to be sitting kind of upright, straight. You want the handlebars to come back from the bike to meet you, so you're not leaning forward. And you can ride in that position like a sofa or a recliner type of thing. You could ride that for a long time. So that's a position you want to be in. This bike doesn't put you in that position. You are sporty. Your kind of legs are tucked up a little bit. You're leaning forward a little bit, but not all the way. And the wind on this, the windscreen that comes with this bike is really not that good. So what I've seen a lot of people do is they buy the big touring screen for this to cut all the wind. And then they also buy bar risers and the handlebars too. So that usually pulls the handlebars up an inch and back an inch typically. So that puts you in a little bit more of an upright position. But I've sat on some of the bikes that have that setup, and because my seat is lower than a normal seat, I feel like I'm pretty much in the same position with my drops, you know, kind of pseudo clip-on bars that come with this bike. So that's something to consider. I don't like the tubular handlebars on this bike or the bar risers. I think it just kind of, to some degree, destroys the sporty look of the bike and feel. But if you have the stock seat and you do that, it will put you in a little bit more of an upright position comparatively. So the highway, we're going to begin on the highway over here pretty soon, so that's where all this traffic is coming from. So with the highway speeds, I'm not really going to be able to talk too much, so we'll just kind of talk here a little bit, I guess. It's I think it's overall it's a very comfortable bike, but for really long, munching some serious miles on a freeway, I don't think this bike is wonderful. And to the people that I know that go on those long rides, most of them have changed their seat out, got the tall screen for wind protection, and also have got bar risers to put them in a more upright position. So they've kind of really modified the bike a lot to have it feel more comfortable for them. Okay, here's the highway entrance right up here. It's 35. So yeah, this is a good bike for the highway in terms of it's got a long wheelbase, not really long, but a little bit longer. It's a little heavy, not too heavy. So you've got that. It's got the fairing in the front, so it cuts down quite a bit of wind, but with the stock fairing, you get some wind buffeting. So if you're gonna go on the highway a lot, I would suggest getting one of these wind deflectors like I have, or the whole new windscreen, like a touring screen that's a lot taller. But again, because of its horsepower and its weight and all that stuff, this is a fine bike to take on a highway and cruise at 80-85 miles an hour, no problem. So that's a big plus. Close that down. My thoughts on a motorcycle anyways is to have a motorcycle that's got enough power to not so much to go fast, but be able to get you out of the way of things, or if a car is riding up on your butt real quick, you can just twist the throttle and disappear the car and get away from that car very quickly. If you have a underpowered motorcycle, you really can't do that because you don't have the power to take you away from that situation fast enough. So for me, I like having bikes that have a lot of power, and it's not because I go on the back roads doing wheelies and going 120 miles an hour or whatever. I just like having the power on taps when I need it. It's comforting to me that this car right here on my right hand side, this Jeep, if he decides to I'm just going to turn right in front of this bike, I could punch it and he goes away. I get away from him quickly. Small CC'd engine, I'd be still trying to get away from him as he's turning into me. But that's it. I'll wrap it up here while I'm kind of going really slow here on the highway. This bike does tick a lot of boxes. It's a great bike, and in my opinion, it's an overall amazing bike, especially if you're only going to have one motorcycle. The only thing this does not do, it can, but it's not recommended, is to go off-road with it. So this is not an adventure bike. I've been on some dirt roads and gravel roads before, not by choice, but just because that's what happened. And I was out in the countryside, and you're going to run into some roads like that when you go way out deep in the countryside. It's not fun, I'll say that, to ride this on loose gravel. So that's the one box this does not tick. If you want to tick that, I would say look at an adventure bike, something like the BMW GS if you want to stick with the BMW brand, or there's plenty of other manufacturers making some really good adventure bikes that will tour, go on the highway, do everything I just said about this bike, and go off-road. The only thing that doesn't tick is the sporty nature. So that person that wants that bike to be sporty, that's not an adventure bike, even if it can go fast. And like, for example, the GS from BMW has the same motor as this bike, so you're getting the same performance, but you're in a totally different seating position. The riding triangle is completely different. But yeah, thanks for joining me. If you have any questions about this bike that I didn't address, put them in the comments below. Love to answer those for you if I can. Like I said, I've had this bike 5 years. I'm an owner. I'm not just test riding this. So I've got 30, let's see, I'm coming up on 40,000 miles of seat time with this bike. So it's quite a bit. I do really like this bike a lot. Even if I could get another bike, I would still keep this bike. It's fun. I really like it. But now we're picking up some speed, probably a little harder to hear me. I'll tuck down here. But thanks for joining me again, and I'll see you in the next one later.